ESL tutor. Technology. The $28,000 from the FRP position. And a projected $26,000 savings in the HR position.
Ken, what about the 40,000 we're getting for the school wellness? Is that already factored?
That has to stay.
It was already factored.
Yeah,
Not-
but it goes
that's-
into the food program.
Or we're running a surplus to one area.
Even though we're down to
Chair.
6.
Yes.
Would you just read, that keeps the tag, we will increase that. That's what the
That
tag-
keeps the tag.
Yeah.
It keeps all the positions. It throws out the administrator's concession proposal. It's going to absolutely destroy us next year when we go before the city. Just keep that in mind, because it's going to continue the perception that we're not going to get some level of buy-in from our bargaining units, and that we're not going to take the effort. So I would be prepared for a hard budget season next year.
So you're gonna eliminate the SEDSL tutor, correct?
Well, the guidance, TMS, and music is 193. The tutor at 15 gives us 208. The technology at 131 gets us to 434. The FRPs get us up to 460. Oh, that's not 439. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Reduced technology, hardware, TMS, is that not?
Yep.
That is being cut?
Yep.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep. And that gets us to 439, 467.
Guidance, athletics, music, tutor, technology, FRP, and HR savings.
Guidance,
I think
athletics,
that's-
music, tutor, technology, FRPs, and 26,000 to see.
395.
No, you got work for that. You should go to school.
Well, I'm trying to
Sorry.
listen to conversations and add
I
at the
was
same
going
time.
off the list. All right. That's 395?
Yeah.
190.
394, 558.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
One thing that always happens during the hiring during the summer is, I mean, say we go with this 395, what Dan was saying, vote for the 488, we have the 395. The hiring of where we lose a position and where we hire is always, there's always a variance. So if we can come back in the summer when we actually have the people we're going to hire in real dollar amounts, we could see the savings there. But if we don't, then we can then go back to the drawing board and cut another 88,000.
Are we also freeze the budget in September?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
You know, when we approve a budget, we approve it as, say, for example, certified salaries, 511.01, administrators. We approve that amount of money for that line item. So we're not talking about who we're going to eliminate as a specific person, but I believe it's our legal responsibility to define these $488,000 out of line items. Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, because otherwise you're kind of just saying, we approve $488,000 and then you take it out of whatever line item. I don't think that's how you legally do the
That's-
budget. No, because that's why you do a budget this way. That's why these numbers are specifically placed under each one of these line items. And then when you want, over the course of the year, you want to move money from administrative line item to pay for some technology, then you have to come to the board to specifically get board approval. You don't have the discretion to take that money from one line item unilaterally by yourself. You need the board's approval, but it's based upon this budget that
Well,
we
we try not to do that. We have not come, I believe we have not come before the board this year to ask to transfer monies.
And I'm not saying whether or not you do that or not, I'm just saying from the legality sense, I think we as a board tonight have to define out of what line items this that's in this budget, where we want these cuts to be taken.
That's precisely what this does. I think the only discussion that's going on right now is to get off of, you know, is it gonna be a Latin teacher, is it gonna be this teacher, that teacher? Basically, we're saying you're gonna cut a teacher somewhere in this budget. And I would, to simplify things, I mean, look, I think we need to keep that TAC program, and we need to restaff it as a real person there, as some sort of, look, just like this boy who won the award for writing about helicopters, you know, and to me, it resonated, I think, to most people, because it was a Connecticut achievement, you know? It's a Connecticut achievement. That's what makes it even more great that he wrote, and TAG is a Torrington invention. Torrington created this program. You know, it's a national program, it created it. I think it's our legacy. I think we have to support this, and we have an opportunity now to hire somebody who is reinvigorated with the idea of what they can make this program and can bring even more to it as a, you know, somebody who can actually be that kind of person who can coordinate high-end offerings within our school system and be the advocate for that for those kids. I think this position becomes that way staff work. If you reduce these 12-month secretaries, FRPs, blah, blah, you got 66,000 there, right? Under alternative, if you were to accept that and eliminate the ESL teacher, you've got 75, 81. You've got enough to buy that teacher back, that TAC teacher back, right? And simply, I mean, that's simple. It keeps everything here.
I didn't even take it. But she intended, but I didn't.
Am I missing something?
I'm just trying to
But-
come up with.
Similar to the CNA program.
Yeah.
What if we voice our approval, you know, we want a CNA program, and we have administration find an efficiency from within to fill it?
See, I don't understand that. This gets to Andrew's concern. Where these efficiencies should be reflected here. I mean,
Well, that's exactly what was your wording for the CNA program, was for them to re-look at their course offerings and find a teacher to teach the course by looking at what courses aren't necessarily needed or as popular or as
yeah.
beneficial to the district, and to find a staff member to fill the CNA program. So what if you charge them the same here? Look at your whole district and find the efficiency of one person somewhere to fill the spot.
Well, if that person, okay, if that's.
You would most likely
but
hire
does that-
somebody, but I'm just saying you would,
Does that person, well, okay, then if we hired, then we've gotta have that money in as a line item.
or you lose somebody and you hire somebody for that.
I would prefer to have the administration tell us, yeah, they've got somebody that they can reassign within our school district, and then we know where we are. I mean, do we have that person?
One person has requested, you know, said she was interested. I haven't even looked, I don't know the name.
Wait, we're in the middle of a conversation.
Okay.
Wait your turn.
Okay,
I know, Cheryl, and I don't wanna put you in a box. I mean, look, if we're gonna have a TAC program, we need somebody really good there.
yes.
You know?
I agree, I agree.
And so I'm just saying, so therefore, we should have that money there, and if, and we can do it within your own proposal here, within your A and B list of proposals. By buying the ESL, eliminating that, and reducing the 12-month secretaries, we then can fund sport. And you have the luxury then of getting somebody really good who's gonna be inspiring and highly motivated for these kids, not just somebody looking for a lateral move within their district. So,
One of the things you mentioned at the last meeting was at school improvement, it was discussing sort of maybe classes whose time has come, as you put it.
Right.
And I think if that's what we're discussing, I mean, I think that should be something that we should discuss. It doesn't have to be the Latin program. I just use that because I knew that, you know, we didn't have somebody in there, and we discussed it last time. If there's a class that we can talk about, that we can all agree upon, or mostly agree upon, that maybe that time has come. I'm not talking about teachers, I'm talking about a class. And if we can save, you know, programs like the TAG or athletics or any of these arbitrary cuts, I think that's a worthwhile discussion, is it not? Am I wrong in saying that?
But we also have to make sure we have enough classes at the high school so students can get all the requirements that they need, including, you know, electives. And we know we need to at least have a minimum of 81 teachers at the high school to make this happen for the number of students we're there. We're pretty close to that right now. You know, it's a good suggestion. suggestion, but then if we don't offer it in class, a student winds up with a study hall.
Well, maybe something could be cut in the grade, I mean, in the
Okay.
middle school, anywhere, it doesn't have to be in high school, I'm not just talking about that.
Yeah.
I just think this is a worthwhile discussion, instead of saying arbitrarily, okay, we're gonna cut one. That's my opinion.
Chris?
I'd like to see the guidance counselor and the TAC program specifically, and in order to save those, I would propose eliminating the ESL tutor, taking the savings from the 3 FRPs, and then reducing, not eliminating, but reducing the technology, hardware, software, and TMS, the difference, which I have as being 247. So you're still funding it with something, but it's concrete.
You took the ESL, the FRPs, and 82,000 out of technology.
Yes.
And you put back the 150,000, or, sorry, 125,364 for.
Yes.
Ellen, did you have a hand up?
No.
Okay. I got lost.
I have a lot of concerns about eliminating TMS athletics. The number of kids that benefits for $68,000. I would much rather see us look at a paid for play 6 to 12, keeping in mind the state maximum rather than, I mean, middle school, when these kids start getting into the most amount of trouble. And we have a lot of kids involved in TMS athletics that without that, I feel strongly that everyone
But
paid.
you go to pay for play again, now you've got additional administrative costs, so what is that real number? It's more than just the 68, you know what I mean? You got to staff, I mean, there's a lot of additional staffing.
I don't believe
You don't
that
think
there
so?
is. I don't. We have someone that does student activities. There's a lot of different ways that you can take over the administration if you don't make it overcomplicated. Flat fee per athlete across the board. And, I mean, I also think that with fundraising opportunities that everyone should either have to pay or fundraise your payment.
That's what that, rather than eliminate it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the number in front of me, but Danielle, what is the number of kids participating in sports at the middle school?
Who else was doing that? Chris, were you talking about just the 28,000 in the FRPs or the full 66?
No, just the savings from the FRPs that want to stay at it.
What additional benefit to your idea is it would give us a real idea of what neighbor play looks like and what it really entails. You know what I mean? At the middle school level. Look, at sports is gonna be discussed from every budget going forward.
At 326
It's gonna be discussed.
kids benefit from $68,000. To me, that seems ludicrous that you would take that away from all those kids.
If we do it for 1 year, at the end of next year, we'll have a real baseline of information for what we talked about. If we try something like this.
And there isn't a lot of opportunities for that age group in the community unless you're looking at travel and bigger commitments. Plus, you can't just step onto the high school.
Graffiti artists.
I mean, you can't just start playing for the high school. I mean, you have to have some experience in playing other teams, teamwork. I mean, I just think it's such a benefit. And I would rather see that 68,000 be split up among the 6 to 12 athletes.
Would that, Danielle, do we know if that, I'm just wondering, would it fund that?
It'd be $16,300 in payment for.
So we would still be short. A significant amount of money, so that doesn't fund that.
55,000. We can only charge 50 per student, and at 326, that's 16,000.
No, I'm
No,
saying
high
split the cost 6 to
High
12.
school.
Every
Okay.
athlete 6 to 12.
Oh.
So then you go in
32, 2, and 63. I'm gonna check it, 48,500. That's if everybody paid it.
That's if everybody
Yeah, that's
paid.
48,000,
They're not gonna-
and then we're not tweaking free reduced.
bill that's on the House floor recognizes free and reduced lunch on paper plates. So it restricts you to $50 and you have to provide free.
Per sport or?
I think it's 50 per family.
Yeah.
50 per family, 25 per child.
Right, that's what I thought.
Per sport.
But that number is now probably down around 6,000.
We added a principal, right, yes. I'm sorry, I said assistant, right.
Andrew, you had your hand
But
up.
that was my question.
Well,
Andrew's up.
well, let him just finish that.
What was that?
I had asked, is this a new position? And
You asked
said
if the
no.
position that was being cut was a new position or an existing position. And the position that was on the board to be cut is an existing position. It is an elementary school assistant principal.
Who is currently in the job, doing the job.
Yes.
Okay, but we are going to then get rid of that person, but hire somebody for another level.
Yes.
So if we decided not to hire the person as a new hire, we get 100 and whatever thousand back, or whatever that person, whatever that would be budgeted for.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But then that puts us out of our Common Core mandate that 6 through 12 becomes seamless with an administrator.
It's gonna bother other people more than it bothers me, if it means being able to save some of this.
Just going back to that general concept of whether or not we're micromanaging too much to the administration. For example, TAG, they say that TAG, that $75,000 comes out of line item 511.15 teachers. And we proposed to budget in that line item $829,101. To go $75,000, that would be approximately reducing that line item by 8%. If that, I think that's the way we should make our proposals for a line item that these things are done, and then let the administration, we're telling them, you have to prioritize, you have to do what legally is required, but that line item's gonna be reduced by 75,000 or 8%. I think that's the way we should approach whatever cuts we're making or whatever things we're adding.
I agree with that. That's a nice way of doing it.
But we need to pick out the line items and look at those line items and make those specific numbers, because that's our budget. That's what we're approving. So that's all I,
Pull down the list.
what's that?
I would love to.
Just make a straw pull down the list by item, who's in favor or not in favor of cutting these specific items.
Just that line item is student services?
He was just picking an example.
Oh,
He was just trying to clarify the procedure. I don't think he was addressing.
Well, I mean, I asked them, they said that that line came out of that,
okay, yeah.
from that line item, which is, so I'm just saying, if we make our cuts, we should specifically state 551.115 be reduced by $75,000. And then, yeah, then you're gonna figure it out, but you obviously know we're intending that it's coming from TAG, but if you flip the minutes,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Along with Fiona's point here about going down the list, I would like to add to the list the new hire at, that was gonna be the middle school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to add the new hire as a possible cut. In other words, not hiring that person.
Okay. Do a straw poll?
What does it mean? I don't understand the point of this novel.
Because we gotta start somewhere.
But by the same token, if we don't accept this from the administrators, then an assistant principal at the elementary school can be cut with a savings of 110, 105.
But that's not part of my idea. I don't wanna see that position cut. Is
That's,
I'm
you
just
give
saying
your
by the
idea,
same
she's giving her
token,
idea.
do you know what I
That's all.
mean? It would be the,
Okay. Classroom teacher. Paul, anybody?
What are you asking for?
He just wants to know who's in favor of it. We're taking a straw poll.
Yes,
See where we're at.
eliminate one classroom teacher, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
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 To expedite this, you wanna go through the first 6 to
Yes.
classroom teacher through cafe worker?
Yeah.
No, I guess not.
Yes.
What was that?
Never mind. I just thought maybe maybe the board was in agreement on these first 5 or 6, the first block.
Secretary, Paul.
Yep.
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Fiona,
Yes.
Ellen,
yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Vincent,
No.
John? Custodian, Paul.
Yep.
Dan?
Yes.
Andrew?
I need one question. This 50,000 is on top of what Dave's bottom line number for custodians is in this book, so,
What do you mean on top of?
well, the way he looked to reorganize.
Yeah.
That was going to save how much?
I wasn't gonna save
Yeah.
anything, as we could be more efficient.
Yeah, there wasn't any staff reduction.
Okay, because of attrition. Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so we already are going to be several employees,
One.
only one employee
Yes.
short. So now by eliminating.
You go
the-
from 31 to 30 currently, and then this would take it from 30 to 29.
What was the most custodians in the last 5 years this district has had?
We had 38. We were up to 38 in 2006-07.
I'm gonna vote no on this.
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
Para, Paul.
Yep.
Dan?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Fiona?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
Nurse, Paul.
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Fiona?
No.
Ellen?
No.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
Cafe worker, Paul.
Yes.
Yes.
Andrew?
No.
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
What was it?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
All of those pass.
No.
The nurse passes. I vote. I break ties. So that's 5-4 on the nurse. I get to vote 2 once in a while. Eliminated guidance counselor, Paul.
No.
Dan?
Yes.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Fiona?
No.
Ellen?
No.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
TMS athletics, Paul.
This is conditional for me. If we go with, if we substitute paper play, I'll support the cut. Okay? But if we, well, if we do paper, you know, you can eliminate that number, and you're saying full paper play, right? That's self-supporting, Fiona, or not?
No.
Would you propose that
The issue is
self-supporting?
the state is mandating what we can and can't do with paper play now.
You can charge $25 per student, $50 per family, and you have to recognize free and reduced lunch.
Well, I could vote no for this, but then I know ultimately we're gonna come up with $68,000 someplace else.
I'm just not saying that can't happen.
So I'll say, at this point, keep it. I'll say no.
No to the cut.
No to the cut.
Okay. Dan?
I'll cut it.
Andrew?
No, I don't want to cut.
Fiona?
No.
Ellen?
No.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
Yes.
Reduce instrumental music, Paul.
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Andrew?
No.
Yes.
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 reconfiguration of tag.
No.
Dan?
If administration has somebody that wants to step up, then yes.
Andrew?
Yes, one, reduce.
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
Keep tag.
Tag goes. 5-4. Sports stayed. Classroom teacher goes, secretary goes, custodian goes, para goes, nurse goes, cafeteria goes. Guidance counselor stays, athletics stays, instrumental music gets reduced, and tag gets reconfigured. So that leaves us $118,866 short. Our bottom list, eliminate ESL tutor at Southwest.
Yes.
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
No.
John?
Yeah.
Okay. You doing math over there? Eliminate pre-K teacher and 3 pre-K paras. Paul?
Based on your presentation, that's gonna cost us more to eliminate this, I'll vote no.
Dan?
No.
Andrew?
No.
Gail?
No.
Ellen?
No.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
Reduce technology, hardware, and software at Torrington Middle School.
It was reduced to 80, half of it.
What's that?
Did somebody say?
Well, we're
Okay.
not there yet.
What
This
are we
was-
up to right now, or
Um,
down to?
We need 140 roughly.
We need 140?
No, we're 118, 8.
We have 518,
66.
we're totaling 518.
What?
Huh?
Did we take the pre-K, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't take the pre-Ks?
No.
Sorry.
We were
Okay.
That's what's.
488 minus, is it 118? So we
Well,
needed.
118, we added 15, so we're 103 short.
Right. We need 103,000.
One administrator.
Reduce technology, hardware, software, Torrington Middle School.
Well, could we vote on the following one and then see what we might be able to take out of the balance from hardware and software? You know what I'm saying?
We could
If
add
people
it
support
back as
losing the
another-
FRPs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think we look at, do we wanna cut the full amount,
That's what I'm saying.
take a vote, and if not, then
We can go back to it.
add
All right,
back
no,
to
I
it
don't
at
want,
the
I don't
end.
want to cut the full amount.
Dan?
No.
Andrew?
No.
Fiona?
No.
Helen?
No.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
Okay. Reduce 12-month secretaries back to FRPs.
This would be
It's
for-
currently for,
We're gonna move the FRPs to 12 months. There's some 12 months, will stay 12 months. He said,
I read what's on the paper.
okay.
I didn't create anything, I just
Yeah,
read
no,
what
no.
you gave me.
Well, it reduced.
It's
actually-
7
what was
positions.
that
There's
base
7
number?
positions that will remain as FRPs, so we're not,
There are FRPs right now?
No.
No. So as of right now, everybody's full-time?
In the budget, everybody's full-time.
Okay, so we're just reducing 3 that want to be part-time?
We're reducing 7 by what's on the list. We can make the 3 another proposal.
The 7, I believe what they're saying is the 7 that we bumped up in this budget from FRPs to 12-month, remove that bump up.
All right, let's make it easy. Do you want to go 7 or 3?
Just want to go 7.
7 or 3?
7.
7 or 3, Andrew?
3.
3.
3?
3.
3.
3. So we have 3, we have reduced FRPs by $28,287. There's 2 yeses.
would like to cap at what that salary could be and find a person to fit that. We run into the same problem with staffing other areas where we staff at the high end, and maybe the medium end would work just well.
So make it a one-year contract HR position?
One-year contracted HR position, and I'd like to see a reduction of 40,000 at least to that salary. So you'd be looking for somebody in 80,000 for HR
Maximum.
maximum.
Okay, I'll second.
Oh, is there a motion, was it a formal motion?
Well, I think
No,
it's just a
just- we just
consideration
added it to the
because
list.
we're drawful.
You're for that?
I support it, yes.
I'm for that.
Andrew?
I just wanna say that we have no facts of what that position actually can be filled at. I mean, do you have anyone, is there any district, you have the number?
Well, I don't know about a district, but I can tell you in corporate America, the standard HR person that sits at a company makes between $35,000 and $45,000 a year for most company HRs. On the high end for HR, they're making 55 to 60. They're the senior HR directors in the private industry.
I understand what he's saying, but we're dealing in the public sector, we're dealing in public school. Danielle, do you have any idea what other school districts are paying just for that position?
They're what Bill is. It's a director, it's a director position in another district. If they have,
superintendent.
if they have a director of HR, it's a director of HR.
So
They
they
don't
have-
have
Yeah.
a coordinator of HR.
Yeah,
'cause
Fiona's
you have to
talking about
hire-
not making it a
Correct.
director
She's
position.
downgrading the
But,
position.
and Danielle said, there's no school district that just if we could fill that position with our assistant superintendent or our business manager to do those functions, and maybe bump up that salary for one to do the additional for 10, whatever amount. That sounds more reasonable than to think we're gonna be able to reasonably hire a new individual to come in and do this position.
I don't
Jeff,
believe this
so-
position requires, I
Out of-
believe it requires.
Out of curiosity, is that a yes or a no?
Well, based on the fact that we have no idea that we can hire, it's a no.
Okay.
Yes.
Fiona? Helen?
Yes.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
No.
That one doesn't
So
go.
is that a no?
That's a no.
Okay.
14. I missed somebody, hang on. You were a no.
I was yes, I
We're
definitely
yes.
support it.
I said yes.
Oh, yeah, I was correct. Did I say no?
I don't.
You said no.
I'm sorry, I meant I wanted to
People who
support.
support the idea.
All right. You're a yes,
Try
Yes.
to
again.
make the reduction. Dan?
Yes.
I said no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ellen?
Yes.
No.
No.
So there's 4 no's.
No, unfortunately, I don't know if we can get it. I'm gonna say no now. Sorry. What are we short?
I have 12 total, so,
So we're short
yeah.
70.
Did you want to revisit?
You're saying, so you're gonna keep that line item at 120?
I just don't know what, until we have somebody there, until you interview,
And,
I
and
just don't know
if
where
we
it's gonna
can
go.
get just,
If we cut it to 70 and you don't get anybody to take it at 70, what do you do? Right?
Do a budget transfer, I mean, I think we
But-
have to start, I think we have to start
Right,
looking at,
but-
no, no, well,
wait a minute,
realistically,
wait a minute.
that's what you do.
Listen to what you just said. Now, make a reduction in technology hardware. You get a savings in the HR position. Make a budget transfer and backfill the technology. Same philosophy.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're dealing with a known versus dealing with an unknown. That's the only reason. I think you're gonna have a savings there. I just don't know how much.
I just think it's the way you sell the position that you're trying to fill. You're not selling it as a director level, and I think it's totally wrong to be based, to base our decisions in 2013 based on prior years and prior generations. The game has changed, I mean, we're not the only, every school district virtually, outside of probably Stamford, or, Westport. I mean, every school district is going through these, rethinking of their financial situation. And I think these kinds of, I think other districts are gonna come to the same conclusion.
Can we have more information in a special meeting? I mean, can we find out what that number is and discuss that later? Can we find out maybe if there are classes whose time has come, instead of deciding that right now? I mean, that's why I'm voting no to all these, because I don't have enough information.
Well, that's a year discussion. That's what school improvement is doing, and, by all means, please come to us. I mean, that's what we're gonna be doing, but we can't do it in one meeting.
Well, a special meeting, we can discuss one, if we can find one class that we can save, or that we can eliminate to save some of this stuff, I think that's a worthwhile discussion.
But that is a discussion. We can make a budget transfer later if we find an efficiency in another department. If you find an efficiency somewhere and there's gonna be a surplus, you can transfer that money based on that efficiency. Be it a maintenance efficiency, be it an education, be it secretarial or whatever. I mean, if we find out that the HR position comes in, lower, you can transfer that money once you've hired somebody to backfill a cut that happened. I mean, if we find out that we get a guy that'll do everything Bill does for 50 grand, you have a $70,000 savings. You backfill tag. You could.
I mean, what if we can't find somebody who's willing to do it for 150? We just don't know. It's what if, I just think
understand.
you can find money,
But that's
find
why it's
savings,
best.
but we don't know if that's gonna happen.
We'll find it for 120. We'll find it.
All right, reduce technology and hardware for the balance, which is,
75,579.
well,
What was that? I'm sorry.
reduce technology, hardware, and software at the middle school by 75,579.
579.
Leaving how much in that line?
56,000. But if you get savings, you can transfer it back.
This is the last one, right? This gets us to the magic number here?
That would get us to
I
the
mean,
magic number. It
without
doesn't mean it's the last
Without
one.
thinking completely differently. All right,
The other
then do
thing-
it.
And I was also informed at a meeting today that there may be grants for technology upgrades and, your infrastructure being offered by the state, and we would qualify, so. But we're not gonna know.
The state using 3D printers now
Yeah.
for money? What they're gonna do?
Death tax, state tax.
No, it's being taken out of transportation probably and being put into technology for schools.
You're deep in thought. John, we'll go the other way.
Keep it. I'm not in favor of this cut.
That's it. Chris,
Cut it to balance.
Ellen,
Cut it to balance.
Fiona,
Not in favor of this.
Andrew,
No.
Dan.
No.
You don't matter.
I say, right, it's already, I say cut the balance because I don't know where else we're gonna, I have no other ideas of what to
Okay.
do for this.
We have one other on there, which is a $120,000 reduction of a assistant principal at Torrington Middle School.
Well, don't we have to do that at the,
We don't have to, no.
Well, that was the
That
same.
was with the elementary position.
Well, I mean, I think that by
no,
us,
that's
it's,
what you just said.
no, no,
Middle school.
John suggested, it's an added position in the budget. He
Do we
wants
need
to-
that
This is
question, Nate, the
105.
number, or we're already there at the number, right?
We're at the number.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
No,
We
no,
didn't
last one didn't pass.
approve the technology cost.
Technology did not pass, so we are $75,000 short.
No.
Yeah, they-
Before that, not in this at all.
We haven't accepted
We
that.
haven't accepted this.
It's not here.
So how much is left?
We're at $75,579. We have a $19,147,000 concession from administrators that we haven't factored in yet.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. If there is no current administrator who's in this union that's offering the concession, why?
What's that now?
I'm just failing to see why we can't vote on this, because no one has offered putting up a present administrator. So to me, this is just savings, the 19,000 you could add back into technology.
If you don't accept this, then it's the
It
elementary.
was a,
Yeah.
quid pro quo.
So the understanding is we want to eliminate it and not take their savings.
That would basically be.
No, it's not this it's nobody who's here we're eliminating, it's somebody who's not here yet, somebody whom we have hired.
No, I'm saying the two, I'm treating them distinctly, because the middle school can't, that has no impact on this concession, because it's not someone who's currently in there.
The concession was in regards to the middle school assistant principal position.
The one you're
No,
talking
it's
about.
elementary.
All right, you're right, elementary.
This one is
I
the
got it.
elementary. Middle
The
school.
middle
is
school is a position that was added
Separate.
Just one other.
to,
One question, when we make the cut for one administrative position, then it comes from that line item, then it's the superintendent's choice of where she wants to reconfigure the administrators in all of our buildings. We're not specifically cutting that cut has to come from an elementary school or middle school or the high school. It's one position from the administrative, yeah, that's how it's done. We're not,
I'm gonna tell you the proposal that he made.
yes, he said
He
one
said,
administrator.
we added in this budget an assistant principal at the Torrington Middle School.
Okay,
He is proposing reducing that position from this budget. So it is specific. He has asked for a reduction of that position in that budget, because it's not a person.
and what I'm saying is, I don't think, again, that's why it would be great if we had an attorney here, the board's attorney, to actually answer. Do we make a specific cut to a line item, a dollar amount, and then the administration works with that line item dollar amount? We don't say, you cut this administrator, assistant principal at the middle school or the high school or at the grammar school. We just reduce the dollar amount.
The justification for increasing the dollar amount was to hire a new middle school, a third middle school assistant principal.
Also, Andrew, it's a
But is that
concrete
legally
savings.
binding?
It's a concrete savings though, because the position isn't filled, whereas the assistant principal will bump someone else, and it's not going to be a hard $100 and whatever dollar amount.
Right, well, it's a bump, but she has the authority to move all the principals, all the assistant principals to whatever building she wants.
So Cheryl could put that person who would be bumped into the third middle school assistant principalship if she wanted to.
Yeah,
But
You two were agreeing.
I don't think she's gonna
What's
do
that?
that.
I think you're agreeing with each other.
the assistant superintendent actually thinks we're agreeing with each other.
Yeah, except, no. Cheryl has already decided that the middle school assistant principal is a more important position, or the elementary assistant principal, I don't want to identify anymore, but the elementary assistant principal is more important than the middle school assistant principal. She could have done that already.
But there's a bumping process, I believe, not in
No,
this.
not if someone's not hired.
Oh, so,
We would post a vacancy if you were creating a new position. Any administrator could apply for that position. In a reduction in force situation, you have one non-full-time administrator, that would be the first person that would come off in a reduction in force. If the superintendent chose to hire that person for the vacancy, she could do so, but would have to up his or hers salary to that amount.
The question is, we have one non-full-time elementary assistant principal.
Yeah.
So if that position was cut, that person cannot bump into another category.
No, because they would be bumping into a
Full-time.
promotion.
Right.
He could bump.
Right, so you're still not going to realize the savings.
No. No, you'll see maybe half of it.
So John's is a concrete savings where you say X amount, hard dollars, the other one is nebulous figure.
it's a good word.
Comes from Latin.
found here.
They all come from that, John.
They all come from where at 6 through 12 with the individual grades with the director over it.
Yes.
Okay, so this eliminates one school, 2 campuses, and an assistant principal that follows a grade level from start till graduation,
And it
knowing
also-
the students.
And it eliminates the number one goal the board voted on for the year.
Correct, so we're in violation of our own goal by voting on this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Paul?
Can you just clarify which one we're voting on?
We are voting on Mr. Kisco's recommendation of eliminating the new hire assistant principal for secondary education.
And I have one further
The
question.
savings of-
Before voting, I need to know, how is this gonna affect the evaluation process? Wasn't this critical to the eval, to the
Yep.
teacher eval?
It's gonna,
Yeah, so I say no. I say no, I don't support it.
Dan,
No.
Andrew,
I support it.
No.
Ellen,
No.
Chris,
No.
Vincent?
No.
John?
I want to cut it.
But you still need to vote.
Yeah, I did.
You say yes?
Yes.
Okay. That still leaves us.
I'd like to,
$75,500.
I'd like to take into consideration that we accept the administrative union concession, and take off the table the elimination of the elementary assistant principal for a savings of $19,147.
There's some meeting going on.
I know. She would like to move to accept the concession for $19,147 and take the assistant elementary principal out of the discussion. Realize that $19,000 savings, leaving us, I do my math, right?
I stopped.
56,
56,432.
leaving us
I
with
had it right.
56,000 left in the cuts. Would you,
No second?
well, we're just doing our straw poll.
Yeah,
We
yeah, I
haven't
agree.
gotten to
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Okay, Paul, Dan,
Yes.
Andrew,
No.
Fiona,
Yes.
Ellen,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Yes.
John?
Yes.
It's the first one. It's kind of caught me off guard. All right, that would pass. So that would leave us at 56.
I'd like to make a motion that we eliminate one more teaching position with the hope that it would be the Latin program. But I'm just saying, one more teaching position. They made no concessions. It's the largest line item in the budget. Percentage-wise, we're not reducing it that drastically.
Paul?
No, no.
Sure, yes, I'll support that.
This would be a $50,000 savings.
Yes.
Andrew's a yes.
No.
Ellen?
No.
Chris?
No.
Vincent?
No.
John? No. Okay, we are still at $56,000. Can I make a suggestion or a proposal of a reduction in technology, hardware, software, TMS of 56 and whatever?
432.
432?
We only have
Can
55.
we do the equivalent amount on the Board of Education entertainment budget?
You want to double the Board of
I
Education?
said, no, take that cut out of our entertainment budget.
Mr. Chair, can we make that motion to eliminate 56,432 district-wide out of the technology rather than just the middle school?
Would you like that to be the recommended cut? Sure. We're going to change that to a reduction in technology, hardware, and software district-wide of 56,432.
Mr. Chairman, when you went before the Board of Finance, did you, in any way explicitly or implicitly imply that we were bringing our technology forward into the future?
And they still got us.
Well, I mean, you're going to eliminate almost this entire technology. dollars.
No, we're doing it district-wide, not
Now it's
just at the middle school.
district-wide, not just joint to middle school.
And that wasn't part of your presentation that you bringing the district forward, you're not just spending all of the money on.
We still are bringing this forward.
Did we say that our goal in this budget was to move the district forward and to bring our technology up to date? Yes,
Yes.
but then they cut us $500,000, so.
And so what percentage of technology out of our entire technology budget for the district in this budget are we now reducing it by?
What is the total technology budget?
Total?
Well, I mean, that's what he's saying. He's saying we're cutting it from the entire
District-wide.
technology budget.
What if we make a reduction, but we made sure that if we can realize savings in other areas, that this is the first place that that money gets transferred back into?
1.15 million.
1.15 is what we presented to the Board of Finance.
Yes.
And now, how much will we be cutting from that entire, that total amount?
56,432.
Plus the additional money from TMS.
No,
No.
no.
Okay, so we're not cutting any of that money.
No,
voted
just
no.
pulling 56,000 from the district-wide of 1.5.
Okay. Yes. On that? I'll do it. Five, yes.
Paul's a yes. Dan?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Fiona?
Yes.
Helen?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Vincent?
I'm gonna go yes on this one, Mr. Shaw.
First you didn't.
And we're
No,
done.
second, there was a no
There
from
was
the
a-
teacher.
He voted yes to the ESAA too.
And the
Okay.
concessions.
Well, we have to do that under action items. So we'll run down it under the action items, where we're at.
You got it? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, policy 6095, graduation requirements. Bill?
In your packet, there were two policies for first read. The online learning policy and the graduation requirements policy. And I'll point out that the only difference that you'll see as you're reviewing this for the first time is that we are removing the credit information towards graduation to the graduation requirement policy. It was felt that it's confusing when we have it in two places. So what we're going to do, what we're proposing to do is eliminate that language and replace it with the statement, see policy 6095, graduation requirements, so that somebody looking at that policy can then cross-reference it to the graduation policy. Then, in your graduation requirement policy, 695, second page in, we have added the online credit information from the online learning policy, and then added a bullet for flexibility. We're limiting the amount, in that language, we eliminate the amount of credit that is available for students to get online credit. And then in the policy, we've added a bullet which allows some flexibility. And it states, the credit limit stated above may be modified for an individual student with the consent of the principal and the approval of the superintendent. So if we have a student who needs more than what is typical, that will be considered on an individual basis by the principal and approved by the superintendent. Typically, you get these as a first review, look them over, and then at the following meeting, the second review and possible action for adoption.
Discussion.
On the online credit, all courses, so if it's not credit recovery, a student could potentially take all his courses online and get credit and towards graduation?
Well, you'll remember, and Sue, you can jump in because you helped out with some of this language. There were priorities as to how the online credit for the online seats were going to be distributed. So potentially, Mr. Nargi, you're correct, but we are limited in the number of seats available, which would limit possibly that availability for a student to be.
And I like the language so that if the board does come up with more funds to expand the program, it wouldn't, if the student would qualify to take the courses, our policy wouldn't deprive the student to be able to do that.
They could still do that with the new language with the consent of the principal and the approval of the superintendent, so that still is possible.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Can we have a discussion on these two policies? Oh,
For the online credit, for this exemption, I would like to see that, I'd like to see where these instances, I'd like to see this reported back to the board when they occur. Not that the board has to approve it, but I want to document how many times. Because going
Minor-
forward, I see a downward pressure on administrators to use this possibly excessively. If the board starts putting pressure on administrators for dropout rates, retention rates, I could see this being, suddenly becoming an option that's used more frequently than we want. And I like reporting on it I'm not sure if it's a yearly basis or maybe on a quarterly basis.
Consent agenda?
No, I'm not sure. I mean, that's up to the board. I mean, I'm just thinking this now. It just needs to be yes.
One thing is, any student who's expelled and
Yep.
is for a year, they will take probably more courses.
Good, that's all we need to know.
stay.
Don't need to know names, just need to know the
Okay.
circumstances.
Okay.
If we start to see that this is getting excessive, it will prompt some other discussion.
I'll see.
Susan?
I don't see a problem with that.
So we'll report.
Do we want to send this back to policy committee to add that language? Or how do you want to handle this? Because this was approved to bring forward to the board as is. Do we want to send it back to policy committee to amend that one piece and then bring it
And
back?
then bring it back for a second read.
Okay. First, I'd be happy with just approving it on the,
Well, yeah, but there's no problem. I mean, we're just accepting this as a first read. It's
Oh,
gonna
all
go
right.
back next
All
month
right.
as a second read for a vote. It can go back to policy just to add that language,
Fine.
come back to us as a second read, and we can approve.
We wouldn't have to necessarily go back to first read.
Right.
We could still look at it. as a second read.
Okay. Suspension and expulsion, policy 6192, second read. You again, Bill.
Yeah. You saw this last month for the first time. It's the new and improved suspension and expulsion policy, discipline policy in the district. It updates all of our definitions. It provides more guidance to the administration. It follows the state requirements for safe school climate, bullying. It's a policy that's been recommended to us. There was one question that came up both in the committee and in the last board meeting as to whether or not the forms and the samples at the end of the policy should be included, should be separated, or should be in two places, online and so on. Specifically, there was some concerns about the agreement sample that's at the end of the policy that is a stipulated agreement format template, which there was some concern that that's not the one we've been using. My recommendation would be that a policy is a policy. The forms are something separate and probably should be used. I mean, we can use them as templates as needed, but I'm not